For our warm-up today, I want to show you how to make some really simple beaded beads that look spectacular with leather cords. So take a look, these are a couple of examples, and you can see how different it would be if you used different beads. It would really change up the look. So what you do to get started is cut a piece of beading wire, and I'm using 0.15, but you could use any diameter that will fit through your beads at least 3 times, okay? So slide a bead onto the center of your wire. And the nice thing about working with beading wire is you don't need a needle. You can just use the end of the wire to pick up your beads. So I'm using crimp beads here as spacers, and that's going to become important when we finish up our beaded bead. So what the pattern is alternating our glass beads with our crimp beads. I'm just going to get 3 onto the center of my wire. So I have a little crimp on the outside of my beaded section, and then I have crimps in between, but I'm not going to crimp any of these yet. Okay, so we're going to pass this through both sides. So see how my wire is extending from both sides of that bead? And this is going to be what we consider our first stitch. Now this is called double needle weave, but it also gives the same kind of look as right angle weave. So to create our next stitch, I'm going to go and pick up some more crimp beads. And I want 1 on each side. And like I said, this pattern is going to become more important later on. Now we're going to put a bead on each wire, like that. And then we're going to add another crimp bead. And I'm using gold crimp beads, and I have my gold beading wire, so it kind of all works together. But you could use silver or copper or even black. Okay, so now I'm ready for to stitch up my next piece. See how I have my bead on each side? It's 4 pieces, so it's kind of making a little bit of a diamond shape here. So now I'm going to bring my wire through the other side, like that, and then pull a stitch so you can see. So I'm making a little row. All right, so here's a piece that I made that already has 4. So here's 1 circle, there's the second one, there's the third, and now I'm ready to finish the 4th. And the way that you finish it, instead of adding another bead here, I'm just going to go through my very first bead that was in the center of my wire. So I'm going to go through opposite sides, and that's going to kind of stitch it together and make it fold into a circle. All right, so just pass your wire through the opposite side and then pull that tight like that. And so you can see it's all folded up here together. Now to finish this, what I need to do is pass my wire through one of these crimp beads. And that's why it's important to use a crimp bead here instead of a seed bead or something, because we're actually going to use those to hold our whole piece together. So just pull that there, and then I'll put my wire through the opposite side of a crimp on the other part of the stitch. Pull that tight. So now we have our piece. I'm just going to come in with my needle nose or tweezer nose pliers and squeeze that crimp. Make sure it's the one that has your wires passing through it twice. Just give it a nice little squeeze. And then you have your beaded bead. You can trim off your extra. And this makes a fun focal piece for any type of leather cord, or you could string this onto a chain. Now I also have an example here of using it as a tassel topper. For this one I use some smaller beads, and all you do for this is take a piece of wire and make a little hook for your chains, and this part's going to be hidden inside the tassel topper. So you could add as many chains here as you want to. I'm going to add enough so that my beaded bead doesn't slide down over the top of my tassel. And just keep adding. So I need to make sure that all of my pieces are hooked on here. And that's going to be hidden inside. And then stack these together. I'm going to go ahead and make my wrapped loop here. And then I can slide this other beaded bead with the smaller beads down on top. So this is my piece that I already made, just the exact same way that I showed you with the double needle weave. Pull it down to cover up the top of your tassel, and then you can stack some beads here. And this makes a fun pendant for the center of a necklace design too. All right, and so then all you would do is slide your beads down and make a wrapped loop to attach it to the middle of your necklace. That's it. It's a really quick warm-up.